but then they say that these people aren't friends anymore. If they're not friends anymore, then why would they be doing what they would suggest are lying for her? Why would they be corroborating everything that she says? It's this simple.
इसमें राइट बटन लेफ्ट बटन से कुछ
Depp was
होता है?
abusive to Amber
अच्छा
one
होता
time
तो
ever in any of the various forms of abuse, not only physical, verbal,
राइट बटन से
emotional, psychological, sexual, any of the ways of abuse,
वो उससे
then
सिर्फ
your
ये
job is
Spotify के
very
गाने
easy.
चेंज होते हैं
And you can not only deny Mr. Depp's claim, but you can fine for Amber on her
गेम
counterclaim.
खेलते हुए
And it's interesting that Ms. Vasquez just changed their theory after 6 weeks. She said, "Oh, well, domestic abuse just
लेकिन
means
क्लिक करने से
physical."
कुछ नहीं होता
It's not what Mr.
अपने
Depp
स्टिक
said.
नहीं बटन
Not what
बटन
Dr. Curry said.
बटन कौन सा है
It's not what
राइट
Dr.
और
Hughes said. It's not what you know to be true.
ट्रिगर
You
के
know
ऊपर
that the
वाला
evidence
भाई
that you've seen constitutes all sorts of abuse. And there's a reason that they're running
स्टिक
as
नहीं बोल
fast as
रहा
they
है तो
can.
कौन सा ट्रिगर के
from
ऊपर
those
तो
sorts of
आरटी और
abuse
आरबी बोल रहे हो
because
ना
they
तो
know
उनसे तो
that
होता
he
ही
did
है
it. Now, the suggestion that Amber's abuse allegations are hoax is vicious and vile. Mr. Depp can say whatever he wants now, but he can't change the evidence that you've seen at the trial. The evidence shows
भाई गोल
Ms.
मार
Heard
दिया
did
था मैंने
not commit
पे
abuse hoaxes.
मैंने
Not
सेव
about
कर लिया
sexual
पर मेरे को
violence,
वही
not
सेव
about May
नहीं
21st,
आ
2016, and certainly not about Mr. Depp and Mr. Waldman's catch-all, all-purpose statement that Ms. Heard's abuse hoax, which suggests that every one of her allegations are false. But that's coming to an end. The evidence shows she did not commit any of those hoaxes. The evidence shows that she was abused exactly how not only she, but her witnesses supporting her claims say that she was. And their witnesses, even, who claim that Mr. Depp abused her. Ms. Vasquez talked about actual malice. She says because Mr. Waldman was acting as Mr. Depp's agent, you have to look at Mr. Waldman. They're standing in the shoes of one another. And as Mr. Depp's agent, Mr. Depp's malice is Mr. Waldman's malice. Mr. Depp's malice is Mr. Waldman's malice. He acted with actual malice when he made these statements. Now, after years and years of Mr. Depp controlling the roles that Ms. Heard took, Ms. Heard had the biggest hit of her career 3 months before she was sued. She had withstood Mr. Depp's attempt to have her fired from Aquaman and his own jealousy as his career went down the drain before her op-ed for reasons having nothing to do with Ms. Heard. Once the lawsuit against Ms. Heard was filed, his campaign that he promised to destroy her entered a new phase. And then it reached a crescendo when Mr. Depp and Mr. Waldman decided to meet with the Daily Mail together and decided to plant statements that were defamatory of Ms. Heard in the spring of 2020, leading up to the UK trial. You've heard Amber and her agent, Jessica Kovacevic, talk about the impact of Amber's career. She can't get hired because of
मैं बोल तो रहा हूँ एरोसिटी पे बहुत अच्छी जगह है
co-stars
एरोसिटी तो डल सा लग रहा था मेरे को बहुत ज़्यादा
but she can't get opportunities because of the negativity.
मैंने बोला था ना रात को ज़्यादा मजा आता है रात को ही गए थे ना मतलब शाम को
You've heard Amber Heard on the stand.
मैं तब गया था जब ये वर्ल्ड कप चला था तब तो बहुत ही बढ़िया माहौल था वहाँ पे वहीं पे बड़ी स्क्रीन लगा रखी थी उन्होंने बहुत बड़ी स्क्रीन.
That promise, to paraphrase
3D.
Ms. Heard's damaged episode, that promise
ये देखना मैंने
was a
कितना
spark.
मिस करा था.
And that promise he kept because he had told her again and again the only way out of this is death. And when she chose a different path out of it, he decided to make that.
हम दोनों एकदम बगल में
He decided
पीछे से
to throw that spark. And when Mr. Waldman became involved, that spark became a forest fire. That forest fire has continued
32nd एवेन्यू और ये बहुत अच्छे बना रखे हैं.
We ask, ladies and gentlemen,
32nd एवेन्यू भी
Mr. Depp accountable for his
32nd एवेन्यू के पास लेकिन वो नहीं है कोई मेट्रो वगैरह नहीं है ज़्यादा.
Stand up for victims of domestic abuse.
साया बर्फ की तो अपनी मेट्रो है मतलब चारों तरफ.
Stand up for the freedom of speech, the freedom to speak about your life.
और जो कैनवस क्राफ्ट क्लब था ना वो साइबर अब नहीं था पहले वाला.
Give Amber Heard her voice back. Give Amber Heard her life back. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you,
अरे
Mr.
हाँ
Rappaport.
बहुत बढ़िया जगह है
Members of the jury, this is an important
ऊपर
case
एक्सटेंसर
to
का ही
both the
ऑफिस
plaintiff
है
and the defendant.
एक्सटेंसर का
In
है
order to reach a verdict, each of you must agree on that verdict. In other words, your verdict must be unanimous. The first thing you should do when you go back to the jury room is to select a presiding juror. The role of the presiding juror is to see to it that the deliberations are conducted in an orderly and businesslike manner, that they are conducted only in the jury room when all the members of the jury are present, and that each juror has the opportunity to fully and fairly express his or her views. It is rarely helpful for jurors upon first entering the jury room to take a straw vote or for any juror to make an emphatic expression of his or her opinion in the case or to announce a determination to stand for a certain verdict. To do so before all jurors have had an opportunity to consult with one another and exchange views and opinions might allow your sense of pride to prevent you from retreating from an announced position, even when shown that such position is unsound. You have a duty to consult with one another and to deliberate with the objective of reaching an agreement. If it can be done without offending your individual judgment, each of you must decide this case for yourself, but only after an impartial consideration of the evidence with your fellow jurors. In the course of deliberation, a juror should not hesitate to re-examine his or her views and change his or her opinion if convinced it is an error. However, none of you should surrender your honest conviction as to the weight or effect of the evidence solely because of the opinion of your fellow jurors or for the mere purpose of returning a verdict. In the jury room, you will have the exhibits that were entered into evidence. You will also have the instructions of law that I just read to you, and you will have the verdict forms. You'll also have a laptop, and that laptop will have just 2 files on it, and Deputy Lusa will set it up for you in the jury room. One is the plaintiff's files for audio and video files, and one is the defendant's files for audio and video files, and you'll be able to hear and watch those as well, the ones that were submitted into evidence. During your deliberations until you are discharged from jury service, you must not communicate with or provide any information to anyone who is not a member of this jury by any means about this case. You may not use any electronic device or media to conduct any independent research about this case, the legal or factual issues in the case, and the individuals or attorneys involved in the case. You are not permitted to consult dictionaries or reference materials, search the internet, visit websites or blogs, or use any other tools to obtain information about this case or to help you decide the case. Do not try to find out information from any source outside of the testimony and the exhibits received as evidence during the trial. You will also have, I know the attorneys discussed briefly about the verdict forms. You'll have 2 sets of verdict forms, one for Mr. Depp's case and one for Ms. Heard's case, okay? Now, when you have these verdict forms, the first 3 pages of both verdict forms have each of the statements separately. Okay, so when you're going through it, you're going to look at each statement separately and answer the questions that are on the page, okay? Now, if you decide yes for every question for a statement, then that's when you go to the last page of the verdict form, which is for damages. So, for example, if you find yes for all of statement 1, then you could go to 4 and 5 for damages. If you find yes for all of statement 1 and statement 2, you still go to 4 and 5 for damages. If you say yes for statement 1, statement 2, and statement 3, you obviously go to 4 and 5 for damages. If you answer no on any of the pages for any of the statements, you don't go to 4 and 5, okay? So that will be for all of them. And then when you do come to a verdict, make sure the foreperson signs it and dates it, and then just let the deputy know about that, okay? All right, now, for the tough part. You may remember at the beginning of this case, I told you we would randomly select 4 people to be the alternates, okay? We still have 2 alternates left, and the numbers were placed in the envelope in the very beginning of the case. So let me just say before I release the alternates that I know that this trial has been a huge sacrifice for all of you, and I have taken, and you've taken away from your life for weeks on end here. And I know I speak for all of us associated with the case, and I want to thank you for your service in this matter. I know how hard it is to come this far and then not get a chance to deliberate, but that does not lessen the respect and admiration that we have for you. As an alternate, you will not deliberate, but you are still under order of this court not to do any outside research in this case or to talk to anyone about this case at this time, and you're still under your oath as a juror. That is because if something happens to a juror during deliberations, I will call you back for service, and you will join the deliberations, and they'll start again, and you'll be part of the jury. So you are under these restrictions and your oath until a verdict is reached. We will contact you once this has occurred, and then you'll be free from your obligations, okay? But again, thank you for your service, all right? So in this matter, the alternate jurors are juror number 3 and 14, all right? So at this time, those jurors are excused, and also the remaining jurors can retire now to the jury room to begin their deliberations, okay? So thank you all. Okay? So
अबे
thank the attorneys and litigants for the kindness and the great demeanor you've shown to my staff and to the courthouse staff and to the deputies in the sheriff's department. I really appreciate it. It means a great deal to me, okay? And I also appreciate Judy because she's a rock star, okay? So, yes, thank you. Oh, well, that's a first, okay.
ये क्या हो गया भाई?
अब मिस कर गया
अरे भाई मेरे पे सीधा शॉट था।
अरे मैं
That is one thing on which
अरे
Senator Hoffman
नहीं
and we respectfully agree. Completely agree.
Well, good. I'm
भाई
glad on the
शिट
last day we
लगाई
finally
एकदम कोने पे।
Thank you, Your Honor. We're very grateful. Thank you.
Oh, you want to approach? Sure.
भाई एक बंदा AFK था तब जब हमारे पास 2-3 चांसेस थे।
बहुत ही बड़ी।
हटा दो ना। वाह मुझे तो सही नहीं रहा
मैं हटा रहा था मैं भी। रेडी थी।
लग ही रहा था चले ना जाए और चला ही गया।
लाऊं क्या कीबोर्ड इसकी बैंड बजाने पे? एक तो खेलता होगा। वो तो बिल्कुल नहीं खेला था। टिक ही नहीं दबती।
उधर का IPL सही में बहुत बेकार हुआ है वैसे। राजस्थान उसमें आ गए फाइनल में। इससे बेकार चीज हो क्या सकती है? दूसरी बार आई होगी ना फाइनल में 2008 के बाद। एक बार नहीं
एक बारी
राजस्थान एक ही बार जीता है।
शेन वॉटसन ने जिताया था सबसे पहला। नहीं दूसरा।
पहला जीता है पहला।
सबसे पहला डेक्कन चार्जर्स ने
नहीं,
जीता था ना।
दूसरा जीता है डेक्कन चार्जर्स ने, पहला राजस्थान रॉयल्स ने जीता है।
जितना मुझे याद है डेक्कन था पहला।
नहीं नहीं,
फिर उसके बाद
राजस्थान
से
रॉयल्स है,
टीम
देख लो ना,
टीम ही
आईपीएल 2008 का चैंपियन।
लगा दे।
अरे मैं ही हूँ क्या? अरे यार, मैं इतनी देर से वेट करूँ, नकुल लगा रखा।
अब बेटे वाह।
हाँ, और नवीन वो 2008 वाला ही था, आरआर वाला। शेन वॉटसन नहीं जिताया था, लेकिन 2008 वाला था।
तो
2008 में पहला हुआ यार। नहीं नहीं, दूसरा डेक्कन जीता है, 2009 वाला, वो डेक्कन जीता है। और पिछले 3 बार से ऐसे आरसीबी कम से कम प्लेऑफ्स तो आ रही है, बट वहीं आके आ गए थे। वैसे दिल्ली भी लास्ट लास्ट 2 टाइम से तो फाइनल भी खेल चुके हैं 2 बार दिल्ली। तो इस बार तो पता नहीं क्या ही घटिया खेल रहे थे, टीम भी बेकार थी वैसे तो इस बार।
अब्दुल भाई आजा।
कॉफी बनाते रह जाओगे, मैं बोल ही जाते रहेंगे।
आजा आजा आजा
खुद ही ले जाएगा, नकुल निकाल
देगा
देगा।
क्या। अरे यार
उसके बाद एक और चलूंगा यार, मेरे को नींद आ रही है तो।
कहाँ मार रहा था उल्टा
emotional
जाओ में।
abuse
अरे उसने
by Miss
चेंज मारा
Heard
था, देखा नहीं
during their
था क्या?
relationship.
अच्छा।
And when their relationship was over, Miss Heard inflicted the greatest and cruelest injury of all. She publicly and falsely named Mr. Depp as the abuser. Miss Heard never thought she would be held accountable.
बहुत
Never
सही।
thought that she would have to
हमने सेव भी
face
कर लिया था, लेकिन इतनी
her
तेज पावर
abuser.
थी कि फिर लग गया।
She never thought she would have her supposed mountain of evidence vetted. She never thought that Mr. Depp would tell you, the jury, and the world that he was the real victim of domestic abuse. She said it in her own words.
अबे ऊपर कैसे होती है बाल?
Johnny Depp. I can tell you that, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and I know it's a fair fight. And see how these people believe or side with you.
Okay, so again, Camille Vasquez kicking off the closing arguments for the Depp team. Remember, each side had 2 hours total, including their initial remarks and rebuttal, and they got it all in and done. We're going to talk about what has played out today and what this jury must be dealing with at this very moment, because they got 1 or 2 things to do. There's a 4-page verdict form. There's 37 pages of instructions. That's fun. So, here to talk about this, we have Karen Felicia Nance. She is in the East Bay, over on the other side of San Francisco. And also, Mitra Hurian is here. She is here from Beverly Hills. Welcome both. I appreciate you being here on what could be a very interesting day. So let me get first impressions, Karen, of the closings, and we're gonna sprinkle them in throughout. But so far, what do you think?
I was very impressed with Camille Vasquez's presentation. I thought that she did a great job. I understand from the reporters at the scene in Fairfax, Virginia, Antoinette Levy, that the jury was actually smiling when she came forward, when Camille came forward. So that was interesting. And I just thought that both attorneys for Johnny and both attorneys for Amber did a good job. It's up in the air. I think that they both scored points. They both did a great job. So it'll be interesting to see who was the most persuasive in the jury's eyes.
Yeah, I agree that I think they did both do a good job. Very different styles, and obviously, I believe, Mitra, disagree or not, that One side, the Depp side, maybe had better facts to play with, but their presentation, although very thorough and they got it all in time, a little more scripted, literally, whereas the Amber Heard attorneys were a little more free-flowing. But again, if you take that apart and just look at the facts they had to deal with, I think the Depp team had better facts. What do you think?
Well, first off, what a trip down memory lane for those of us who've been following this for 6 weeks now, and I'm sure the jury feels the same. You know, they both did a great job of really honing in on the evidence and the testimony that supported their story. So they painted a story on each side, of course, choosing the facts and evidence that supported them. And in doing so, there was a lot of recordings and presentations and videos and photos shown that I think is really helpful to a jury who's probably trying to remember some of this just as they go in to their deliberations. And of course, in trial advocacy, the most important things are the primacy and the recency. And so this is what the jury is going to remember before they go in. And I thought they both did an excellent job. We'll get into it more, I'm sure, but there were some points that kind of stuck out for me just in watching today.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think they did a good job of highlighting some stuff that you might have said, oh, yeah, now I remember. Because there's just been so much and so many incidents and so many events within incidents. So I really do think they did a good job of pulling it all together. The real question is, quite often we see the jury members have already made up their minds by the time you get to closings. I don't know if that's true today. So we'll hear more from Camille Vasquez a little bit later on, but her cohort there, Ben Chu, also took a piece of this closing argument. Let's watch that.
Mr. Depp dated major figures like Winona Ryder, Kate Moss, and Vanessa Paradis, with whom he spent 14 years together and with whom they had their children. Before Amber Heard, ladies and gentlemen, no woman ever before Amber Heard ever claimed that Mr. Depp raised a hand to her in his 58 years. And no other woman since Ms. Heard made that false claim back on May 27, 2016, and repeated it in her December 2018 op-ed. Has any woman come forward since? This is Me Too without any Me Too. You heard Kate Moss 2 days ago testify. This is a woman who has never testified in any proceeding, ever. A very private person. Testified that Mr. Depp never abused her and that Ms. Heard lied to you. And she lied to you twice when she told you.
Objection, Your Honor. That Ms. Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, as I was saying, Ms. Heard lied to you twice when she suggested to you that Mr. Depp pushed Kate Moss down the stairs. You told her, you heard her say just 2 days ago that Mr. Depp never did that, and he never hit her, and he never kicked her. That was one of...
Objection, Your Honor. That's not what she testified to.
It's exactly what she
discussed that.
Thank you, Your Honor. They're still at it. You also heard from Richard Marks, an expert in the inner workings of Hollywood and the entertainment industry, who explained that the impact of Ms. Heard's allegations on Mr. Depp was devastating. Quote, it's devastating. It's the type of claim of sexual violence, domestic abuse, that has canceled a list of actors, unquote. And for many, and Mr. Depp will agree with this, rightfully so,
सरप्राइजिंगली मैं कॉल पे बात कर रहा हूँ उसके साथ बस खेल रहा हूँ
of abuse, not this hurt. True victims need protection, and true perpetrators need to face the
ऑडियो जा रहा है क्या
क्यों नहीं जा रहा है सब जा रहा है
अरे भाई
Amber Heard is not a true victim. And Mr.
इतने लंबा कोई देखेगा नहीं
an abuser.
ये बात है
Again, nobody has come out of the woodwork to say me too. This is the unique and singular
भाई बना के दे दी कौन था ये
where there's not a single Me Too. In fact, to the contrary,
भाई
Kate
मतलब
Moss,
क्या
who was in a
बनाया
romantic
उसने
relationship
चेंज
the
मारा
with
change
है
Mr. Depp for 3 years, which he wrote off, came forward to
मुझे
say
ना एक्चुअली
that
स्लाइडिंग टैकल और
he
नॉर्मल टैकल के
never
बीच में
pushed her
डिफरेंस समझा
down any stairs.
Sometimes hard to
बढ़िया
forget this whole thing kind of spirals out of this one Washington Post article, which I want to get into in some detail because the headline really contains what I think is the one word
तुमने
that the
बायोशॉक
jury
वाला ले
really
लिया ना वैसे
analyzes this makes all the difference in the world, and that is the word
आज
bias.
यही
But before we get to
मैंने
that,
मुक्का जब मारा तो
Karen, we
मैं
just heard
आज
counsel
होता
talk
जब
about
बटन दबाया था
this
ये
part of
देखो
the case
आज ये पलट गया
and
पूरा
अरे
explaining
भाई
that the
लगा ही
Me
नहीं
Too
इसमें
movement is not like some sort of a
ये
free
किसने गोल
ride,
मार दी
for folks. You've got to prove your
बायोशॉक क्या
case.
बोल
What do
रहा
you
है
think?
बायोशॉक
I
जो है
thought that he
कलेक्शन
did a great
एफएक्ट
job.
पे ले
Mr.
ली ना
Chu said that it's Me Too
नहीं वो नहीं
requires
लिया
another person, right? And Two TOO
फ्री
refers
गेम
to also.
एपिक पे
So
फ्री
not
गेम
only was I abused, but there was someone before me
देखा
that was
देखो
abused. And he
मैं तो
very
साइबर
clearly
पंच
indicated
खरीदने
that
का
there
सोच
was
रहा
no
था
one
दोबारा
else
से सुनने के लिए
that
अरे भाई बंदा फूट गया
Mr.
मेरे
Depp
को
had been in a
मेरे पास
relationship with
ले
prior
तो
to
सकता है
Amber
वैसे
Heard or
साइबर
after
पंक
her
मल्टीप्लेयर
that
नहीं है
had
और
made the
फर्स्ट
same
पर्सन नहीं है
claims.
वैसे याद
It was
रखिए
interesting to me in the closing of
फर्स्ट पर्सन की
Amber's
है
case
थर्ड पर्सन
that they
नहीं है
didn't mention Ellen
हाँ थर्ड
Barkin, that
पर्सन
they
व्यू
really
नहीं है
wanted
जैसे
to
कि
bring
चीटी की
this
तरह अगर
person
एक्सपेक्ट
forward
कर
to
रहा है
say
ना
that
थर्ड पर्सन व्यू है
he
वो नहीं
threw
है
this
थोड़ी बहुत
object,
दिक्कत
a
है उससे
bottle
मैं
in her
आइडिया टू
direction.
भी
So I
सोच रहा
don't
था
believe, unless I
वो
missed
भी
it, that they
अवेलेबल है
mentioned her at
अरे
all in their
मैनकाइंड
closing. So I
डिवाइडेड ले
believe that
लेना
that was a
वो
wash.
सही है
That didn't really add to
मैनकाइंड
Amber's
डिवाइडेड
case. But I thought that Mr. Chu was
नाम ही
very
नहीं
good
सुना
at pointing this out in terms of
ये
the movement,
ये
and I
है
think that it was
डूज एक्स
necessary
मैनकाइंड
because
डिवाइडेड
that's the focus
यार
of the case in social
क्या
media.
ही कह रहा हूँ वो
Does
साइबर पंक
this
है ना मेरे को बहुत बढ़िया
in
लगता
any
है
way take away
भाई
from the Me
वो
Too
बहुत बढ़िया
movement? So I
बनाया
thought it
उन्होंने
was important for him to point that out.
Yeah, and I've made
डिजाइन
the
वगैरह
small
बस उसको
comparison a
ऑनलाइन
few
कर रहे हैं
times that
अपने
there are serious and horrible domestic violence
ऐसे
cases every
उसमें
day
मजे
in
भी
this
आते हैं
country. Does this help if it
उसको
isn't legitimately
टाइप का थोड़ा
proven,
सा लग
or
रहा
does it hurt? So let me ask you, Mitra, about this the whole violence thing in the article itself. We saw today counsel for Amber Heard kind of water down what they felt this article suggested, and therefore what this jury must find to prove that what Amber Heard said was true. A lot of the things they relied on were not violent. They were, horrible verbal abuse, perhaps, emotional abuse, perhaps, but not violence. And I don't know if that's going to work or not. What's your take on whether Amber Heard's attorneys attempt to broaden this definition of abuse? And again, if we look at this article, it's pretty finite. Is it going to work?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, in my mind, and I think in a lot of people's minds, perhaps even the jury, abuse is the key word, not necessarily the violence or victim aspect of it. I personally think, a victim can be any type, any number of things, but in this case, it sounds like also an aggressor. So can a victim also be an aggressor? And I think that's where they're running into a bit of trouble here. The broadened definition of abuse and a conversation around that, I think, is really interesting and really important. Johnny Depp himself acknowledged that abuse can be physical, psychological, emotional, and in Rottenborn's closing arguments, he was listing all of the ways that, other things that he did were abusive, including putting the dog out the window, including, the words that he said, including his actions, including being controlling over movie roles. So all of these things, they're bundling into the idea of abuse, so that even, as he said, even if there is one instance of that kind of abuse under this broadened definition, then, as he said, Amber Heard wins.
Yeah. Now, you're trying to get me in trouble, Mitra, making it sound like I'm suggesting there can't be abuse that is not physical in nature. I fully believe that there is and happens every day. But again, if this is the subject that we're talking about, and Amber Heard is attributed to having said, I spoke up against sexual violence, and it is that headline which she incorporated by reference when she retweeted the story. I think you have to focus on that, and I don't think the jury maybe should be allowed to expand. Violence is violence. I guess if you can characterize emotional abuse as a violent act, I guess maybe that works. I just don't know that that's a common sense analysis. I'll let you respond.
I think that her side is acknowledging that in some sense by addressing the fact that
वही तो कह रहा
that,
हूँ,
she
अगस्त में
didn't
पड़ेगी
come up with the
छुट्टी।
title. She retweeted it.
अच्छा,
She didn't
ओ सेकंड
modify
जून
it
को
in any way.
तेलंगाना
All she did was
फॉर्मेशन डे
post
है,
the link.
ठीक है, तो
So they
तेलंगाना
बैंगलोर
did
बनी थी।
definitely address
हाँ
that
हाँ
because
बैंगलोर
I'm sure
हैदराबाद
that,
वालों
like
जो
you,
हाँ
they
हाँ हाँ, और वो
realize the
थर्सडे
jury is
को है
asking
भाई,
that very
फ्राइडे
question
भी
of,
नहीं है
okay,
मेरे।
आपकी
this
छुट्टी है
title
ना?
though doesn't say, it says violence, so does this fall under that? And her team is definitely trying to remove her
बैंगलोर या
from
हैदराबाद ये बोल
responsibility
रहा हूँ
for
मैं,
that title.
And I
या
think
बोल
what
रहे
we
बैंगलोर
हैं।
are
की
just
क्यों
doing
होगी,
is basically
हैदराबाद की
what the
होगी
अरे
jury
ना?
is
नहीं नहीं
doing
नहीं
at this moment.
नहीं नहीं नहीं,
So
वो
let's take a
ऑप्शनल
quick break.
हॉलीडे
We will
बाकी
get
सब
back
के लिए,
to
अगर आप चाहो
the
तो
Deptford
छुट्टी ले
matter.
सकते
I
हो
got the
बोल
clock running here.
कि
We're
मैं
up to
ऑप्शनल
15 minutes
हॉलीडे ले लूँ।
deliberation. I'm guaranteeing you this
साउथ
is a
वालों को
quick, how's
ऑप्शनल
it
दे
going?
देते हैं।
Let's
हाँ,
pick a four-person, and then we'll kind of see where things stand. Let's take a break. We'll come back to it.
मेरी मेरी है दो, हमारा क्लाइंट ही 2 से 5 तक उनकी छुट्टी है क्लाइंट की। 3 की वो है ना, गोल्ड क्या गोल्डन जुबली कौन सी कहते हैं, डायमंड जुबली जो भी होती है, 100 साल हो रहे हैं, 75 साल हो रहे हैं जो भी।
वाह,
हाँ तो मार रहा हूँ।
क्लाइंट
एक बात बता, नकुल जो स्ट्रीम चला रहा है बट उसमें रॉकेट लीग भी खेल रहा है एंड उसमें एम्बर हर्ड का केस भी चल
चल रहा है।
रहा है।
अभी तक तो मैच भी चल रहा था इसमें।
हैं?
जब
बोला
हम
था
गए
ना
थे
मैंने, डाल देंगे।
यहाँ पे तो बोल
वही,
रहा था।
वो तो डालना ही था बट 2 घंटा दिखा दिया तो
हाँ तो क्रॉप कर रखा था ना इसमें, तो इसलिए जल्दी नहीं मिला उन्हें कॉपीराइट पे।
बहुत छोटा दिखा रहा था ये, एकदम ही, मतलब खुद को ही दिख रहा है।
अबे बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत, वही तो बोल
भाई
रहा था मैं
कोई ध्यान नहीं दे रहा, भाग गया।
बच जाता वैसे, जल्दी छोड़िए।
भाई इस पे बंदा गोल लेके घुस जाता, वो 7वां गोल करता, मुक्का मार
अरे
दिया।
नहीं, ये चिपका लेता ना, ये भी तो देखो कांटे खोल लिए थे इसमें।
इतना इंटेंस कभी नहीं चला ना, एटलीस्ट ये वाला तो क्या बोलता रंबल,
चल जाता है।
मतलब कितने गोल नहीं।
बहुत लंबा भी चला यार, काफी बार तो।
चलो
अरे
चल,
ये फार क्राई 6 का गेम प्ले देखूंगा उसको, सही लग रहा है काफी गेम प्ले फार क्राई 6 का तो।
फॉल गाइस खेलेंगे। अरे फॉल गाइस आने दे, फॉल गाइस खेलेंगे।
वो तो ये फ्री में आ ही रही है ना,
हाँ तो
बायोशॉक क्या है इसमें, है क्या बायोशॉक में मतलब?
बायोशॉक,
फायर
कैसी है गेम, में तो ये पूछना चाह रहा हूँ, पता है तुम्हें?
फायर शॉक या बायोशॉक?
बायोशॉक
बायोशॉक।
सिविलाइजेशन कुछ लग रही है मेरे को, सिविलाइजेशन टाइप।
सिविलाइजेशन थोड़ी है, बायोशॉक तो वो है, प्रॉपर गेम है, एक्शन गेम है।
इतना कुणाल पता कैसे आपको गेमों के बारे में? मैंने तो देखे ही नहीं गेम आज
मैं स्ट्रीम देखता था ना यार।
So here we are, just beginning deliberations. Would you be shocked if I said there's a verdict or
बायोशॉक
question? Yeah, me too.
वगैरह
Nothing
ये
yet. We of course will
वो
keep you
है,
posted if there is a question or two. And again, as I
शूटर,
mentioned, 37
सिंगल
pages of
प्लेयर, वो जो
instructions,
होता नहीं है।
four-page
हम
verdict
जो है
form.
मेरे को
I'd be surprised with
चाहिए
the mountain of
11
evidence
घंटे,
these folks have seen over 6 weeks.
फार
I'd be
क्राई
surprised if
6
there
भी
is not
देखने
a
की।
question. So today, closing arguments. We've heard from the Johnny Depp side. Well, let's listen now to some of Benjamin Rottenborn. He, of course, arguing for Amber Heard.
Those words are true, and the First Amendment protects Ms. Heard's right to say them. Now, the third
सबको
statement is
अलविदा कहते
absolutely true as well, but we're going to take
हैं।
that
जैसी अलविदा वाला
because she didn't
मैसेज
write
तो
it.
स्लाइड
Under the First Amendment, the
So
statements
लोगों को
have to
लगेगा
be
क्या ये
false
plan
in order for Mr. Depp to
guess we'll
win.
never know.
Now, plaintiff addresses, like I said, an argument that we're not making. And as I said, we're not running from the fact that when she
जितनी बार
discussed
चाहो उतनी बार
becoming a
लगा
public
सकते
figure representing domestic abuse,
वैसे
Amber was
digital-
speaking of her experiences reporting domestic abuse against Johnny Depp.
ऑर्डर में ज्यादा कर सकते
She admitted to that, but that doesn't make
मतलब
the
एक order में
article or the
जितने games
statements
डालने डालने
about Johnny Depp. Think about it. Think about every piece of evidence that you've heard over the last 6 weeks about
Digital
his
goods पे क्या ही
abuse,
limit
about their relationship. None of that is in the article.
NFT
None
थोड़ी
of
है
it. We all know that it would be a very different article if she had written about what she suffered, that she's told you about over the last 6 weeks. Because he knows the words are true, Mr. Depp says that the words now have a defamatory implication. He says the statements are the same as saying Johnny Depp
multiplayer में
abused
आते
me.
हैं
But just because he wants to make the article about himself doesn't mean it is. He
अब
has to
गेम भी
show
मैं तभी
you
लेता जब तुम लोग के
that
साथ
any
में खेलें तभी
defamatory
फायदा है
implication was designed and intended.
अभी तक नहीं आई ना
Look at number 4. Designed and intended by Ms. Heard to convey the defamatory meaning that he suggests. Just because people might read the article and remember, oh yeah, Amber Heard used to be married to Johnny Depp, and she accused him of abuse. That doesn't mean that she designed and intended defamatory implications in writing about herself. And think about it. If Mr. Depp is right, then virtually any statement that anyone could ever make about their own life that implies anything, implies any involvement with any other person, could be defamatory. And that's clearly not what the First Amendment intends. She didn't design and intend the words to be the equivalent of writing Johnny Depp abused me. And you don't have to take her words for it. You can take the words of Terrence Doherty of the ACLU. He said that the op-ed wasn't even Ms. Heard's idea.
Stop caring.
The ACLU wrote the first draft, and great care was taken in drafting the article so as not to make it about Mr. Depp or Ms. Heard's relationship with him. That's the only evidence presented about Ms. Heard's motive, except her statements that was exactly what she wanted to do. She wanted to talk about her experiences after Johnny Depp. She wanted to own her story after Johnny Depp.
मैं खरीदूंगा तो मेरे को तो एक तरीके से वैसे भी फ्री में ही मिल रहा है
what other people experience having accused someone of domestic abuse and the backlash that they suffer, and then talk about legislative measures that could help protect people in those positions. That's what she meant, and that's what the article is about.
So I'd never believed that she wrote the article. I don't. I believe she adopted it, republished it, slapped her name on it, but I think it's an ACLU document, better or worse, and now, Amber Heard's had a deal with it. She should be held to what it says in that article. The jury's sitting with that as well. So, Mitra,
वो इनवाइट करने के लिए
at one point,
कह
because it
रहा
sounds like Mr.
खरीदो
Rottenborn is suggesting that maybe it wasn't about Johnny Depp, this article. What do you think?
18 GB की गेम
Yeah, they maintain the position that this article was about Amber Heard's experience, her experiences after the alleged abuse, the experiences after her marriage to Johnny Depp, her experiences after coming out, and really about, her being this public figure during this Me Too movement, right? Whether we agree with that or not. And of course, the judge has decided that, the claim can come in through implied defamation. So I think that there's a disagreement on that. And so that, to really continue to bring that up is interesting, because I think it's already been decided that it is still implied defamation, even though he wasn't mentioned.
Yeah, I agree. And Karen, it just seems to me that maybe you don't want to waste your time going over that. It's all also kind of a given, so maybe there's other things you can work on. So what do you take from at least my interpretation, Mr. Rottenborn, suggesting, come on, you can't jump to that conclusion. I think he's doing it because of the intentional element of the claim.
I agree, and I think that what I remember in Amber's testimony, and more so with the ACLU attorney, was that Amber wanted to include Gianni's name in the op-ed, and there was discussion, maybe advice from her attorney that shouldn't happen. So I think that is, it's easy to imply that it was about him, and I think that without that fact, it didn't carry the weight that the ACLU needed it to. And so I think it's because of who she was and who she had claimed abused her. That was what gave the credibility or the notoriety, I should say, which is why they wanted to include the article as it
Couch
was. And
gamer,
so I
couch
think if
gamer.
it was
गेम में आराम
anything
करने
less
के लिए खेलता
than
हूँ। मेरे को अगर सीधा बैठ के
that, if
खेलना
she
तो मैं काम ना
hadn't
करूँ गुड
went to
न्यूज़ है अभी
court to
तक
ask for the
बात
TRO,
तो
then we
हाँ
wouldn't even be
काम ना
having this
कर वो बहुत
discussion, or wouldn't
बढ़िया
even been in the
एड टू
Washington
कार्ट
Post, because it wouldn't have
बस
generated
गेम
that
बंद
type
हो
of
गई काफी
notoriety. So I
खास
think that it clearly can be implied, as Nitra indicated.
Yeah,
गेम
and
बहुत
the
बढ़िया
ACLU, I don't know if they ever thought they'd get the mileage out of this that they've gotten, but
टॉप नेट
boy,
चल रहा है
everybody knows now. So we broke
देन
up earlier the
खरीद
Johnny Depp
नहीं
मैंने
नहीं यार अभी
closing
नहीं आया मेरे को
arguments, and they
बहुत
did
टाइम
the
लग रहा
same
है
thing in
गेम
the Amber Heard case.
बताऊंगा
So let's listen now to Elaine Bredehoff. She gets her part of
मैंने
the
खरीद
closing
लिया
done
ठीक
on behalf of Amber Heard.
बहुत बढ़िया
So we're fighting back, and that's
कल
the
करूँगा
देखनी
डाउनलोड
थी ना
इसे
इस पे बढ़िया है
She
क्या
finally has said
एपिक पे
enough.
25% ऑफ
नहीं
कूपन
Enough.
एपिक पे
And
नहीं
we're
है
asking you to
Epic जनरली
finally
वो गेम से रखते हैं जो
hold this
एक्सक्लूसिव
man
होते हैं उसके
responsible.
प्लेटफॉर्म पे
He has never accepted
नहीं ऐसा नहीं
responsibility
है
for
ये
anything
आरडीआर
in
टू
his
पे भी
life.
उस पे
You've
भी
heard it
है
this whole
साइबर
time.
भी दोनों
He
पे
hasn't
है
admitted to anything. He's blamed everybody in the world,
और
his
अरे यार
agent, his
बड़े
manager,
वाले
his
टाइटल्स हैं
lawyer,
दोनों पे
Amber, his friends, everybody. But he's never accepted
बाद
responsibility
में
for a
करूँगा
thing
इसे
he's done
कल
in his
करूँगा
life. But we're
आज
asking you
ठीक है
to accept,
ये
to
खरीद
make
लिया
him accept responsibility, to hold him legally responsible for his actions,
कस्टम पे हम एक बॉट
fully
नहीं
and
डाल सकते
fairly
मतलब एक बॉट
compensate
डाल लो
Amber for
लेकिन
what he has done by creating this concept of a hoax, for the defamation
कस्टम
that
रूम
he
में
has
तुम्हें ले
committed,
लूंगा
that you have heard so much about, that just took wildfire and went off into negative media and has made Amber's life
उसकी
pure
बात ही नहीं है
hell
ना
up to this day. We're asking you to do that, to compensate
ठीक
her,
है
to be fair and hold him responsible, so he stops. We don't want another lawsuit. We don't want anything else.
और
We
क्या
want
बचा
to
है
leave
बेचने लायक
Amber alone
अभी
and
भी
let her
यार ये
get
तो
on with
चल
her
रहा है
life
कोर्ट का
and raise her
वो तो
child.
खत्म नहीं हुआ
So let's talk about the
अच्छा
common
अपडेट
claim
टू
for a
दिखा रहा है
moment.
अभी ब्रेक चल रहा है
These are Adam Waldman statements. You've heard Mr. Depp say, well, why aren't you suing Mr. Waldman? Isn't that typical of Mr. Depp? He doesn't take responsibility for anything, so now he's going to blame his lawyer. But
Law
the
and Crime
evidence is
Network
very
पे live
clear
stream
on
चल
all
रहा
three
था ना
statements, and we'll show them to you in a minute, that he says Adam Waldman, Mr. Depp's
अरे
attorney,
सुन तो
says these things. Now,
हाँ
Mr.
अरे
Depp
ऐसा
says,
ना हो
ये
oh,
हमने
I
लिया
didn't
और
even know
मेरे
about
पास
those
सकता
until
हो
the
वैसे ही
counterclaim. Well, we know that's not
अरे वो
true
रोम
because
ढूंढने में तो
Mr.
टाइम
Waldman's
लगता है
testimony was
कम्युनिटी
2 months before those
अरे
statements were made in
तेरी
February
इन्वेंट्री में पड़े हैं
2020.
क्या
Mr. Depp
बॉक्सेस तेरे को भी
accompanied
मिले होंगे
Mr.
यार खेलते
Waldman
टाइम
to the Daily Mail, the
यस
same place that all three of these statements were published, and he gave him 2
अरे
spliced
यार
audio tapes to try to make it look like Amber was the person who was
टीम
committing the
ऑथेंटिकेटर चाहिए
abuse.
ऐप
He
फोन पे
went with him. He knew that Mr. Waldman was doing this. He knew that Mr. Waldman was launching a campaign against Amber to
यार
try to
ये
discredit her. And the
तूने
timing
सीएसगो
of
को भी
this,
खेली
we're
नहीं है
talking, the statements now are April
कब
and
खेली है
June of
तूने
2020. The trial is July of 2020. So they're launching an attack to try to discredit Amber before the
कम्युनिटी
trial
में
in the
मार्केट
UK.
कम्युनिटी में
That's what
मार्केट में
happened
अरे
here.
अपने
And that is Mr.
प्रोफाइल की
Waldman, but
इन्वेंट्री
it's
में जा पहले
Mr. Depp. The judge gave you 3 different instructions, and you'll all have them. He's acting as his attorney. He has the authority. So
अरे दोनों
Mr.
से कह रहा हूँ
Depp is standing in the shoes of Mr. Waldman. Mr. Waldman is standing in the shoes of Mr. Depp.
तेरा नाम दिखा रहा है
Okay, so
कम्युनिटी के
there's
बगल में
Elaine
देख
Bredehoff and the Amber Heard
है ना
closing argument.
उसमें
We're just hearing word. This
ड्रॉप डाउन में देख इन्वेंट्री होगा इन्वेंट्री में जा गेम लिस्टेड है कुछ
CSGO टीम फोर्ट्रेस
हाँ तो CS:GO में कितने नंबर दिखा रहा है क्या चीज़ है तेरे पास
तीन
क्या 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 है
एक डब्बा रिवॉल्वर केस है एक टीयर डाउन स्किन है और एक ग्राफिटी है
रिवॉल्वर केस पे क्लिक कर नीचे देख थोड़ा स्क्रॉल कर नीचे और नीचे व्यू इन कम्युनिटी मार्केट करके लिखा आ रहा होगा स्टार्टिंग एट रुपीज समथिंग
अरे
हाँ
भाई
हाँ स्टीम
ये स्किन ज्यादा महंगी है इससे केस से
हाँ हाँ कितनी की है
स्किन स्टार्ट हो रही है 51 से और ये
हाँ
स्टार्ट हो रहा है 21 से रिवॉल्वर केस
बस बढ़िया है तो बेच दियो
कितने का बेचना है
इसमें बस
हाँ?
क्या कह
अपने
रहे हो
प्रोफाइल पे हवर कर वहां पे इन्वेंट्री आएगा
प्रोफाइल
सबसे
में
नीचे
इन्वेंट्री में जा हाँ तो स्किन देख, सब पे क्लिक करके थोड़ा नीचे स्क्रॉल करके देख कितने कितने की है मार्केट पे, कितने में बिक रही है अभी।
तुमने अपने फोर्जा हॉरिजॉन वाले 4 वाले कार्ड्स बेच दिए क्या, या फिर
नहीं
रखे?
नहीं,
हाँ वो भी बेच सकते हैं, वो भी 1-1 रुपए के
बेच
बिके।
सकते हो,
वो तो ये 2-2 रुपए के
लेकिन
बिकेंगे।
हाँ इतने के ही हैं वो भी।
मेरे विचर के ज्यादा महंगे हैं, विचर के अच्छे हैं, कम से कम 10-10 रुपए।
हाँ, और एक 19 की। हाँ, ये तो ये
नवीन
तो
कितने का लिस्ट करूं मैं? ये 21 का ही होगा बिकेगा, जितना 21
दे,
दिखा रहे थे।
देख,
नहीं, वो
जितने का
मिनिमम
तू
प्राइस
लिस्ट
है।
करेगा ना, उसमें से थोड़ा सा कट स्टीम रखेगा अपने पास। तो वहां पे एक तो बायर प्राइस होता है और एक ही बायर तेरे को
तो
जो
मैं दो
प्राइस
सौ
मिलेगा।
रुपये रख दूं?
हाँ, बहुत बढ़िया।
21 रुपए
और
का है, मैं 200 रुपये रख दूं?
हाँ हाँ,
हाँ
बेच
ठीक
सकता
है।
है, बेच सकता है, तो वो भी बेच सकता है, लेकिन वो बहुत
नवीन
सस्ते हैं।
कितने आपने ये 20 रुपए का डब्बा कितने में बेचा?
20 का मैंने कोई बेचा ही नहीं है डब्बा।
तो कितने वाला बेचा था अभी आपने? 109?
अभी तो मैंने ये वाला बेचा था, ग्लव केस बेचा था। ग्लव केस ग्लव केस में मैंने जो यहाँ पे स्टार्टिंग एड प्राइस है ना, उतने पे ही लिस्ट कर दिया था, मतलब बायर उतना देगा मेरे को। उसमें से 195 मिले, 224 या 25 का लिस्ट कर दिया था मैंने, 195 मेरे को मिले।
तो उतने का ही था क्या वो?
हाँ, जितने का मार्केट में बिक रहा होगा उतने का ही तो बेचेगा, कितना ज्यादा का बेचेगा तू?
मैं 20 रुपए का
अगर तेरे
डब्बा
को
200 का लिस्ट कर रहा हूँ।
बहुत बढ़िया। नहीं यार, अभी
खरीदेगा नहीं ना
अभी
कोई?
तक कल कल देखते हैं।
कोई खरीदेगा नहीं ना अगर तुम
हाँ
महंगा
तो वही
बेच दो। You will have to price is just right.
और क्या।
मतलब मुझे बायर प्राइस के हिसाब से 21 रुपए डालना चाहिए।
हाँ,
अजीज 21 रुपए का ऑफर है तो मे बी 20 कर दे या फिर 22 कर
नहीं,
दे, उसी के
इस
आसपास।
हाँ तू 22 का लिस्ट कर दे, बहुत मिल जाएंगे 22 रुपए में भी लेने वाले।
लेकिन कैंसिल भी कर सकते हैं उसको, ट्रेड को, अगर कोई एक्सेप्ट ना करे तो।
हाँ कर दे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं।
तो फिर मैं 200 डाल दूंगा तो बिका नहीं तो कुछ होगा फिर उससे?
नहीं, कुछ नहीं होगा,
नहीं, कुछ
कैंसिल
नहीं
कर
होगा।
ठीक है, मैं 200 डाल ही रहा हूँ। क्या फर्क पड़ेगा?
दिया।
क्या पता कोई आ जाए।
देख, मैं दिखाता हूँ, फोटो दिखाता हूँ मेरे को, मैं तुम्हें इसकी, जो मैंने ट्रेड हिस्ट्री है ना मेरी।
हम्म।
यार पता नहीं मेरे फोन का व्हाट्सएप इतना स्लो फोटो खींचता है।
अरे कहाँ दिखाते ट्रेड ऑफर्स वगैरह?
अरे तू होल्ड पे तो नहीं चला गया तेरा?
मेरा?
हाँ, लिस्टिंग होल्ड पे तो नहीं गई?
क्यों, कहाँ जाए, कैसे
येलो
जाती है?
येलो रंग में दिख रही है क्या? देखियो, स्ट्रीम कर एक
नहीं
बार।
दिख, कहाँ पे दिख रहा है?
अरे एक बार स्ट्रीम कर दे, मैं बताता हूँ।
कर दिया।
स्ट्रीम
यहाँ पे तो दिखा नहीं रहा।
कम्युनिटी में जा, मार्केट में, कम्युनिटी पे, मार्केट, हाँ देख, यहाँ पे एक्टिव लिस्टिंग है ना मेरी।
अच्छा, देखेगा तो है नहीं कुछ तो।
देख, मैंने इसमें ये बेचा था, नीचे नीचे का थोड़ा, ये ग्लव केस, ये मेरे पास अभी भी 3 या 4 पड़े हुए हैं, और ग्लव केस, हाँ बाकी भी हैं काफ़ी, और भी डब्बे पड़े हुए हैं, धीरे धीरे करके सारों को बेचूंगा। एक गुना फोटो भेजी हुई है।
देख रहा हूँ।
और ये कितने में बेचूं?
बेच दे, 60 रुपए लिस्ट कर दे। नहीं नहीं नहीं, ग्राफिटी नहीं बेच।
हीट के महंगे हैं ऐसे, हीट के अच्छे प्राइस मिल रहे हैं।
वो मुझे कोई कार्ड क्यों नहीं मिला? एनएफएस हीट तो काफी खेली है।
हाँ वो यही कार्ड
होराइजन
वाली
के बहुत
टाइप।
सस्ते हैं।
होराइजन के 2-2 रुपए हैं एंड मुझे हीट के 3 कार्ड मिले 8 रुपए के।
ऐसे सही।
मेरे को भी 3 ही मिले हैं। मेरे तो काफी इसके हैं।
सबसे महंगी चीज है भाई,
विचर
सबसे महंगी चीज है इसकी बिकती है ज्यादातर, डोटा की CSGO की और
यानी कि
पबजी की भी, पबजी की भी काफी महंगी बिकती
अगर बाय ऑर्डर आएगा तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली एग्जीक्यूट हो जाएगा, मुझे अप्रूव करना पड़ेगा।
है। नहीं अपने आप हो जाएगा।
और ये वॉलेट में आएगा।
यहाँ पे जोमी क्रेट दिख रहा है ऊपर राइट साइड, और राइट में एकदम टॉप में। हाँ इधर पे आने लग जाता है बैलेंस वॉलेट का।
चलो इसको भी मैं बेच देता हूँ।
बेच दो।
100 रुपये में। कोई ना कोई बेवकूफ मिलेगा खरीदने वाला।
इतना बेवकूफ नहीं होना चाहिए।
इतना भी नहीं कोई मिलेगा।
देखते हैं ना,
देख
क्या
अभी
पता
ये भी
मिल
तो
जाए।
देखना, आखिरी 24 घंटे में 17 लोगों ने ही खरीदा है।
ठीक है, तो
17 में
किसी को चाहिए ही हो सकता है दे दे, कोई 100 रुपए नहीं मिल रही हो
अरे ठीक है
ज्यादा।
ठीक, डाल दे तो कोई बुराई नहीं। ज्यादा से ज्यादा लिस्टिंग रिमूव ही होगी ना वो फिर।
रिमूव कर देंगे, फिर से भेज देंगे कभी और।
ठीक है।
50
नकुल
रुपये लेकर भी क्या कर लेंगे।
नकुल तू 7 दिन बाद बेच सकता है, उसमें स्टीम ऑथेंटिकेट स्टीम गार्ड करके एक होगा, उसको एक्टिवेट कर लियो स्टीम के अंदर फोन में लॉग इन करके।
ये भी चल सकता है, इसमें भी डिस्काउंट है। मल्टीप्लेयर
चले यार
कोई है नहीं अच्छे।
मैं जा रहा हूँ, ठीक है
एक ये है लेकिन महंगा है।
बाय।
बाय।
जा ही रहे हैं क्यों,
ऑलमोस्ट।
कोई वर्डिक्ट आया उसका? नहीं
अभी कहाँ है?
अभी आएगा कुणाल।
अच्छा फिर तो भाई मैं भी आता हूँ पर।
जब आएगा तो बताना।
हाँ मतलब आज खत्म हो जाएगा, सारे मीम्स विल कम टू एन एंड।
मीम्स तो नहीं कुणाल, वो नेक्स्ट डे भी दे सकती है। नहीं अभी तो नहीं।
अभी नहीं क्योंकि डबल डबल आवाज आ रही थी मुझे। हाँ वो कर देता हूँ यार, यूट्यूब।
चलता हूँ यार मैं भी।
मैं भी आया।
कितने नींद में बोल रहा है ये।
आज गुड नाइट। ठीक है।
वैसे टॉप गन का ना टिकट्स का प्राइस मैंने देखा, जो उस दिन में 650 की दिखा रहा था वो 450 की हो गई, गिर गया क्योंकि
हैं?
लोगों ने
लोग कैंसिल करा के फिर वो वापस ले सकते हैं। नहीं अच्छा नहीं।
नहीं, कैंसिल में 75% तक ही वैल्यू मिलती है
अच्छा
एट
तो
मैक्स।
शायद नहीं। चलो फिर गुड नाइट।
गुड नाइट।
שיחקת אותה. shot. Nice shot. Counter-terrorists win.
Happens to be just the fact that when this was over, Judge Asked Karate, I don't know if we were playing this live on the network or not, it may have been on the live stream on YouTube, basically gave her, you know, a shout out to her court reporter, calling her a rock star. People clapped. So there was a round of applause in the courtroom for the court reporter. And then I saw Amber Heard hugging her attorneys afterwards, and then Johnny Depp got up to leave with his team, and people stood up and started saying, "We love you, Johnny," and they waved, and everybody's trying to, you know, maintain decorum because people have gotten in trouble before for trying to, you know, be too vocal about their support, but it seemed like things loosened up a little bit today, and they just kept waving, and he waved back, and there was a gentleman on the other side of the courtroom for me, and I think he said, you know, he put his fist up in the air and said, you know, something like, "Brother, we love you," or something like that. So, and then he started to walk out, and then there was more "we love you" and more waving, and everybody's, you know, it's kind of like this bounce. They almost bounce up, like, and they're like this. So I've never seen anything like that. Again, I will couch that with the fact that we typically cover murder trials. So it's been really something to watch.
Yeah, that is, and the critical distinction is criminal versus civil. I mean, I've covered the O.J. trials. I covered, you know, Michael Jackson trial in Santa Maria, seeing him that's freakish enough. But you're right. When there's nothing more than money on the line, people tend to be, you know, a little more human about it. And, you know, they can't help it. It's Johnny Depp. So very interesting. Hey, you got to clear this up for us. I don't know if you know any more or less than we do, but there were some cops that rushed to the courthouse there not too long ago, and there was some speculation it might relate to this case. Apparently does not.
No.
Any info on that?
Yeah, I poked around a little bit about that because they went right by our digs here, our tent, the Law and Crime broadcast tent. I call it Studio
Center,
A or Tent
we like to call that.
Oh, yes, Broadcast Center. Good PR there, Michael Bryant. Good thinking. That makes it sound way more glamorous and luxurious. But yes, the Law and Crime Studio A Broadcast Center. They went like past here on their motorcycles with their sirens.
kid. Don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all. Too many things going on, I can't keep track of them all. From people dropping a bomb to people putting up walls. I feel like life is on hold, perception stuck in a vault. I know that time can heal all, but how much time till we fall? It's awfully chilly outside when there's no shelter to hide. When everything is a lie, you'll find that out in some time. But when the things on your mind are all considered a crime, communication aside, we'll all just fight till we die. Is this an argument or just the start of it? Either way, I don't wanna be a part of it. Can I just get some space? I don't have the heart for this. I can't be picking up the pieces, fixing scars from this. Is this an argument or just the start of it? I wanna drive away so I can be so far from it. I wanna find a place where no one breaks their promises. Or maybe drown myself in something that is bottomless. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. way back before we blew it all. I know that things seem bad, but they could be much worse. There's always someone else who has a greater curse, a greater thirst, a hunger, pain, and mercy. Just find whatever you got and try to be thankful first. I wanna feel again, I need a couple friends. I never really understood just how the story ends, but I can feel it's tense, don't know the consequence. The volatility of life, my only confidence. Is this an argument, or just the start of it? Either way, I don't wanna be a part of it. Can I just get some space? I don't have the heart for this. I can't be picking up the pieces, fixing scars from this. Is this an argument, or just the start of it? I wanna drive away so I can be so far from it. I wanna find a place where no one breaks their promises, or maybe drown myself in something that is bottomless. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small, way back before we blew it all. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small, way back before we blew it all. Foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight, gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, everyday, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard, or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy, how to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome, but try to do what you love when it's said and done. Cause there's so many differences in each of us. Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life, everyday, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Living life, everyday, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah.
Gatlin and Beverly Leonard.
All I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams into modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
So this is not easy for any of us. I know that. But no matter what happens, I did get here, and I did tell the truth, and I have spoken up for what I've been carrying on my back reluctantly for 6 years.
So again, Johnny Depp from his last appearance on the stand as part of their rebuttal case. So Mitra, in some of the closing, I think this particular bite I'm thinking of was Camille Vasquez, where she led up to her list of witnesses that she believes supported Johnny Depp, and she said it by saying, this is not about whether you believe Amber Heard or Johnny Depp, and then she said it's whether you believe Johnny Depp and all of these other folks. But let's take the other folks out of the mix. How important really is it, when you boil this down, whether this jury believes Johnny Depp or believes Amber Heard?
I think it's everything, and I think that's what's the most difficult thing about this case is that we don't have a ton of hard evidence. This is the kind of stuff that normally happens behind closed doors. And I'm watching Amber Heard's reaction, you know, as Johnny Depp is saying, I have told the truth and I'm here and I've said everything that I needed to say. And I'm looking at her and I'm just thinking, well, one of these two isn't telling the whole truth. And I wonder which one it is and who is, you know, what's going through one another's minds when they hear, you know, the other side really saying something that they believe is a complete lie, because it's not that they are accusing one another of half truth. They're outright accusing one another of lying. So I think that that's a difficult question for anyone to answer, because the bottom line is we don't have the hard evidence that corroborates either side, you know, completely.
Yeah, and you've got the very difficult, I mean, it would take a team of mental health professionals to get inside these heads. Some of the stuff they may have heard or told themselves often enough, they believe it. They believe every detail that they've recited. So in their minds, I'm telling the truth. So Depp thinks he's telling the truth, and Amber Heard thinks she's telling the truth. And you know, this jury now, as they deliberate, working on about an hour and a half now, they get to try to figure out who really was telling the truth based on all of the other corroborative evidence or the lack thereof. So good stuff, folks. I appreciate the insights. We're going to take a quick break here and come back. We'll talk more about Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, the trial that has consumed us for the last 6+ weeks, and now it is consuming this jury as they get down to the hard work of deliberating who's going to be liable in this case, if anybody, who's going to pay damages in this case, if anybody. We'll talk more about it when we come right back. Good to have you along. This is Law and Crime.
But to be honest, like in the beginning, I was giving him a hard time.
I was like, oh no, something I just said. Exactly. Oh, wow. Thank you so
Yeah, stand and wait. I gotta get my key. I actually, well, yes, my experience on Twitter must be to be honest, I find it hilarious. I've been roasted, I've been like, but I find it hilarious. A lot of people say beat
Thank you again. Take care. Are one of them supposed to be coming out that door? Y'all know? I'm sorry. Are one of them supposed to be coming out?
Still lawyers.
Huh?
It's still lawyers. No, it's custody. They're major. Yeah, right there. They haven't had a verdict yet. They're not the real. They're civil.
I'll make sure you have space. Okay. You can be where you are.
So you were in the seat?
Yes.
Okay, go back to the friend our seats. You gotta be quick, okay?
No, I know where my seat is.
Okay, call me back when you...
Earlier today, I was
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get up in here too. Let me get up in here too.
I would like to go home.
You sitting in the back of North Cap, correct? You sitting in the back of North Cap? Are you sitting in the back of North Cap? Yeah. Okay, so you're sitting Yeah, no. When they come, you're gonna be sending, right? You can get that. Nobody. You're in the back office. Hold on, let me talk to the guy right now. You think so? Okay, I may hang up on you just because of that.
Where did he go? I just go for
Yeah, so there's like ballots. I'm like that. I'm gonna send you the address to send it to you. And then after Virginia, and zip code, and then I'm gonna give you the account number.
I do the
No. I want it. I'm getting. There's more of those like this.
I love you. Bye.
Yep. And took a picture of it and let me see it. Thank you very much.
That's not right.
My husband was like, where are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go.